Hey folks, so Etoro is a very well-known online broker. It's more well-known for the social trading aspect of trading, where you can copy people or copy portfolios. This video is more for how you copy people. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the process of the thought process of how you select people to copy. Copying portfolios is also an interesting one. I'll do a separate video for that. This video is specifically just for the factors and criteria that you should look for and think about if you are going to select investors to copy on eToro. Because there are maybe some pitfalls, or there are some main factors or criteria that you really want to think about, as opposed to, just looking at the returns and picking the best return. So I'm going to try and sort of cover that off for you so that you can see what those factors are. It's not necessarily about picking the highest return. Hopefully, if you watch it to the end of the video, you'll see what those factors are, and you'll be able to. I'll be covering the filtering and searching, so you can actually fine-tune the results and not just look at the sort of the home page on the copy people section of eToro. So in terms of the platform itself, it is actually very easy to use. It's very easy to copy people. And I'm going to actually invest. This is my real account. So what this video would do would go through that selection process, and then I'll do another video to actually invest £2,000 of my own money on my real account. There is a virtual account as well when you sign up. I definitely would recommend signing up to use a virtual account first, where you get like $100,000, something like that, of pretend money, and then you can do all this, get used to the platform, copy people, actually make some trades in markets if you want to do that. I think a lot of people will just want to come and copy people as well. That's perfectly fine, nothing wrong with that. So you can do that in virtual portfolio first and get used to the platform, and then once you're confident, if you decide you want to do this, you can then switch to the real portfolio, deposit funds, and then away you go. So yeah, I'm going to do that with my real money. So I'm not doing this just to make a video about eToro. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. On saying that, there will be a affiliate link in the description of this video. So if you like the video, if you are thinking of doing it, and you think you got some value from this, that'd be a way that you can support the platform, my channel, if you like. I say hopefully I'm going to give you some good information here so you can benefit from my experience with eToro. So let's jump in then. Across the top, we've got some like the main selection criteria. So you can look at investors who mainly trade in currencies, so foreign exchange, FX, forex traders, crypto, commodities, stocks, all the main asset classes. What these will be here is just a mix. I'll go through these main categories here, a sort of a mix of all of these sort of asset classes that these investors invest in during the last 12 months and gained at least 10%, people from all over the world. You can fine tune the search, and I'm going to finish off this video on that and show you what I'm going to do to select the investors that I'm going to invest in. So yeah, if you go to copy people on the left hand side of the eToro page, you get this like the home page with the editor's choice of investors along the top. So these would generally be investors that the platform was considering as being, worthy of following, doing quite well on the platform. So ranging between, 1,000, 1,500 copiers up to maybe 3,000. There may be some that are below. So this is the sort of, I guess, the sort of lowest number of copiers here on that section, 200. And if you just hover over, you get like the basic description of who they are. But yes, generally you'll find that the more established investors have more copiers. So the next section down is most copied, and you can see here like this guy Richard Stroud, who's been on the platform for quite some time, so he's very well established. Best part of 20,000 copiers, and the risk is also sort of shown on each of them. And we'll cover the risk when we talk about the actual selection criteria here. So one of the main, if we just go down to so these are the most copied investors. One of the main things you will want to think about is these little stars here. You'll notice that some of these investors actually won't have any stars. And so what these stars represent is the sort of level that these investors are at in the Popular Investor Program. So if we just see, so this is a black star, a green star, so this is the top, next is the green, next level down is the green star, and then there's actually red stars, which, so this guy here in the multi-strategy investors is a red star, and then finally you've got like the blue star, which is like the sort of, they call them cadets. So if you go over to the Popular Investor Program page, so these are the popular investors on the platform, and just scroll down. So ideally you'd want the green or black starred investors, because the main differentiation is that they have an investment management qualification. And then for the elite pros, they have an advanced investment management qualification. I'm assuming that the platform, I need to double check this actually, I'm assuming that the platform is actually double checking that. I think they are. And then so, the champion investors may not have the investment management qualification, but they may be working in the industry, for example. So in the educational requirements for the Etoro Popular Investor Code and Conduct and Marketing Guide, they've been at this level for 4 months, minimum of 10 copiers, and then the cadets are like the sort of new popular investors, at least 1 copier, although they quite often have a lot more than that. And then they've been 2 months at that kind of level on the platform, where they're getting a certain amount of level of results that enable them to become a popular investor in the Popular Investor Program. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say, I'm not necessarily going to only invest with investors with elite and elite pro level. I'm going to focus more on the returns. I'm going to show you one cadet level investor that I think is very interesting. And one of the great things about eToro is, it's very easy to copy, and it's very easy to move your money between one investor and another. So if a particular investor that you've copied isn't doing that well, you can switch over into another investor who is doing better. So that's a big plus with eToro. So yeah, that's one thing to bear in mind. So but yeah, in terms of the levels, I'm gonna look at this guy here, Yonglong Si, and these 2 guys here, on the sort of the most copied, and just show you what you should think about when you're selecting these investors. But I'm going to start off with, so on the editor's choice, so this guy here, like almost 100% in the last 12 months. So what you do, just click on their profiles, and these are the main menu buttons here that you're going to switch between. I usually start off with the chart. Now this is going to show you, it's a bit hard to see, that performance is based on $10,000 sort of simulated over the last 12 months essentially. And so you can see that 10,000 going up to 19,000. You know, you doubled your money over, 2020 to up to April 2021. So that's pretty good. What I'm usually looking for with the chart is just to see if there's any really big dips, or if it's just going all over the place here. Generally not, but you do see it sometimes. And so what we call that is, when you see the dips here, is a big drawdown. And that's where you want to probably avoid those kind of investors. I mean, it's got a bit choppy here, but it's still, you can see the line is still going up, and you've doubled your money in a year. Pretty good. So if you think about a bank account with 1%, for me, this is worth taking a bit of extra risk. If we go back to the home page, you'll see these risk categories will come onto them. It's all been measured and quantified on the platform. So for me, that's enough of a risk management strategy that Etoro have for me to give me the confidence to invest, to take my money out of a savings account, which is what I'm going to be doing, and investing into Etoro. So let's just go back then. So this guy here, and so that's the chart. I just check that there's no big drawdowns, and then I usually go into the stats. So this is how they've been doing month by month. So this guy has done very well, as you can see, 5.7, nearly 8%, nearly 8% again in April. And then below that, so that will be for 2021. And then for previous years, you can see what they've done each month. So 2020, about 44%. That's actually, that's okay, but a lot of investors actually did a lot better than that. I mean, 2020, what you want to look for in these historical years is 2018 as well. So this guy did very well in 2018. A lot of professional funds and a lot of investors were negative 2018 because it's a very bad year for investing in general because of what was happening with central banks. And so that's very, very good return. So that's a very good sign for this guy. 2017, so he started investing there in sort of March 2017, but looked like it would have been about sort of maybe, sort of in 30%, about 30%, 10%, 40%, and he's like steaming, like, when you think about like the sort of ARK Invest funds and the tech sector that's taken an absolute beating, this guy's like steaming ahead. We'll have a look at the portfolio next, but and then if you scroll down, then it shows the copiers in the last 7 days, and as you can see, you tend to find that eToro is effectively a bunch of very good copiers on here, like almost professional copiers, and they'll tend to like go with the investors that are really doing well. And as I said, you can switch in and out of investors doing well. So you're almost like sort of riding the momentum of which investors are doing the best. And so that's one to watch out for. That's clearly investors on the platform giving a vote of confidence to this guy. The copies in the last 7 days up 100%. And also, this is another important factor to look out for. This guy's got 5 million plus assets under management. So people have invested through eToro 5 million effectively with this guy, 5 million plus. So it's a vote of confidence. And then in the average risk score, again, month by month, up to 5. It's getting it's getting up to the sort of, I mean, 10 is the highest risk, and you wouldn't want to go above 7. 7 is the max you'd want to go to. We'll cover the actual what that risk is in detail when we go to filter, but but again, 5 is okay, so 4's again is pretty low. And scroll down, and then in the sort of trading percentages here, or the percentage of the portfolio that's in stocks is 60%, 26 quarters in crypto. For me, that's actually, so this is a little bit of a warning sign. I would say that's sort of a bit riskier. So part of the reason why this guy's doing well here is because crypto's done well so far. So pinch of salt needed there, I think. You've got to look at what we'll come to the portfolio, but look at what they're invested in. And I'm going to show you with the other portfolios, with the other investors, why that makes a difference. It's not just about, right, what was their return? Oh, I'll go that. So I'll show you in the portfolio in a second, but let's just finish off this page. Yeah, and then there's like about 7% in indices, so ETFs, indexes, 5% in commodities, which is good. Commodities should do well over the medium term, and then 3% in ETFs. And then right at the bottom, this is kind of interesting as well. So, this is like long-term investing. He's holding positions for an average of about 5 or 6 months, and trades a week is about 1.5. So it's not an actively traded account, but it's doing well. 63% profitable weeks. Okay, so yeah, that for me is a little bit risky. Some of the risk ratings on Etoro you might want to take with a little bit of a pinch of salt. They would be different on more traditional platforms. So I should mention that. Yeah, and then on the portfolio, you actually see what their current portfolio is. So just scroll down. So there's not much. There's only about 20 positions here, 25. Again, so with this guy, what you've got to watch out for on Etoro as well is that you will see a lot of FANG portfolios. You'll see Facebook, Amazon, Alphabet, Netflix, good. You'll see them. This guy is slightly different. He's got some Berkshire Hathaway there, so he's diversifying in some sort of standard growth stocks as opposed to just Facebook, Apple, etc., etc. So yeah, again, he's got 12% in Bitcoin. For me, it's a little bit risky. Obviously, it's done well. So this is his biggest. So in the invested column, this is how much the portfolio is invested in each particular asset or position. Fortinet, I think that's. I'm not sure. I think that might be cryptos. I'm not sure, but yeah, he's got about, well, going down here, you'll see other cryptos. It's Snowflake crypto, I think it might be, and then Ethereum. Although there's only 2%, and then BNB is loads of crypto down there. But crypto for me is a little bit risky still. I still think it's a little bit of a bubble, but it's doing well. So as long as it's doing well, this guy's probably going to do well as well. And then he's got some of the FANG stocks there. I mean, 10% between those two. Microsoft, 5%, again, the same levels in these different positions. But as you can see, he's picked well. Regardless of my sort of risk-averse attitude towards tech, this guy's picked well. That's what you want to look for. You want to look for greens here. So not all of them, obviously. There's no investor here where you see all green, so you should never expect that. Yeah, so there's some gaming there, Activision Blizzard. Again, it's only 2%, so he's not losing a lot there. It's more about what's in your sort of 5%, 4%, 3%, so that's more important. So yeah, and a bit of Ethereum here. It's done well, obviously, but only 2% in it. So yeah, but apart from that, this looks quite, it's not just a standard FANG Tech ARC stock portfolio. We've got Visa, we've got Berkshire Hathaway. I'm not sure what this is, but it's definitely, I think it's not just a tech stock there. Again, diversifying here. It's got some gold, which is good. So it's got some insurance there against the runaway inflation. He's only got about 3.5% in Facebook, so I would probably like to see less tech, even so. But anyway, but yeah, so that's not a bad diversification there. It's got some financials which should start to do well. JP Morgan there. Yeah, so it's not too much of a FANG stock, so I'd still consider this. So what's a nice little feature here is you can create watch lists. So he's in my high watch list, high performer watch list. And then the final thing to check is on the feed. And so this is like their home page, and on the right hand side, they can go over their experience. So he's a Danish trader with more than 15 years of experience, more than 7 years experience trading actively. So that's good. Goes over the trading style, trade-making stocks, focusing on finding the best opportunities in tech and growth stocks. So, it is a bit of a tech portfolio, but he is outperforming by the looks of things. Risk score, focus on keeping a reasonably low risk score, around 4 to 5 most of the time, and we saw that in the stats. So he's thinking about risk, he's managing risk, which is good. And then you'll usually find at the bottom, let's go back. So copy amount should be minimum $500. I would strongly urge copying existing positions. So we'll come on to that when I actually place my trades, my copy trades, or my copy positions. You'll see me copying existing positions probably, but we'll come on to that. So definitely read through that. You can read through the feed. So they'll be posting. Ideally, you'd want them to be posting here sort of relatively regularly. So he's pinned one for 3 months ago, and then what they should be doing here is just explaining what they're doing. You want to see something that's active. So 17 hours ago, good sign. Dear copiers on the 1st of May, da da da. Yeah, so 13 days ago. So this is good. He's engaged with the platform. He's letting his copiers know what's happening, what he's doing. So again, another plus is these are the things you want to watch out for. And so this is a champion popular investor. So you can go back to this page and have a look at that and just read through this page. Again, I'm not, that'd be enough for me. I'm looking at return there. I'm not dismissing this guy because he's not an elite or elite pro. I mean, he said he's a trader. It's probably true. You could probably do more due diligence, check him out online. So yeah, they're the kind of things that you want to think about. That's what you want to check on the profiles of these investors. So let's go back, and I'm just going to go briefly over some other ones just to show. Let's go copy people. So yeah, then you've got like the most copied, 18, best part 20,000 followers. You've got trending. So these are the up and coming. Again, as I say, what the copiers are doing are looking to see who's doing well, and then when they start trending, it means that there's something there. So it's definitely I'm going to have a look at this guy. Long-term stock investors. So now for me, it depends what your portfolio is. If you've got no other exposure to sort of standard stock investments like indexes and ETFs, then yeah, maybe get some exposure here on Etoro. You don't pay for to place your trades in your position, so it's a very low cost platform. Personally, I've got long-term stock investments in other platforms that already had like indexes, ETFs. So I'm not particularly interested in these particular investors because I want to diversify away personally from the stock market to give myself my overall portfolio a bit more diversification. However, they've done well, but they've done well probably because the stock market has done well over the past year. So this is okay, it's the last 2 years, but so it's like 50% a year. Um, yeah, personally, yeah, I mean, you'd do the same, you'd carry out the same process, but personally, I'm looking to diversify away from the stock market. I'm actually looking to go for probably find the best currency traders, forex, FX traders, and then copy them. Long short, kind of similar, but they're making a lot more. Long-term investors, but they're making a lot more sort of trades. These will be not as heavily traded probably. Um, and then the multi-strategy investors, personally, I won't look at those at all. So these are guys that are investing in kind of all sorts, crypto plus ETF plus um, all of the various asset classes, um, or at least most of them. Trying to be the jack of all trades. So there's not that many of them actually that are doing that well. So you've got the view all links here, and if you view all of these, there's not actually that many that are in this kind of like minimum criteria above 5% return, risk score of 1 to 5. So personally, I won't be investing in these multi-strategy investors, but you might want to. Um, if you follow that process that I just went through, then you might find some of these that are, you know, um, that you like. You might want to put at least some of your money into it potentially. Not me though. I'm going to focus on some trying to find the best forex trainers. So just quickly then, Richard Stroud and Mayoshi. You'd think this guy would be better to invest in. He's got 83% over 63%. But I'm just going to go over quickly why I would consider Richard Stroud over Mr. Miyoshi. Um, so again, you can go over the same process, look at the stats, look at how they've done. So did well in 2020, 68%, 103%. So these are good figures. But if you look at the portfolio, so this is a Standard & Poor 500 index fund, so it's got about 10% in that. And then if you look at some of these positions, he's picked a lot of losers here. So, okay, if we go from the top, one of the second highest conviction trade he's got here is in JD. He's gone down 14%. I know the tech sector has taken a bit of a bashing, but again, he's he sort of picked the wrong. The RKF has done quite badly, so he stayed in that. And it's not necessarily bad, but he's probably thinking it'll go back up. Well, he is thinking that, otherwise he'd be out of the trade. But I think he might be waiting a while potentially. So he's picked some not great picks here for me. And then these sort of mid conviction trades within the whole portfolio have been sort of quite low. We did quite a lot of Microsoft as well, so 2.5%. So yeah, Unity Software down 20%. He's got some sort of standard FANG stocks as well, standard tech stocks. So it's quite exposed to tech, Activision Blizzard, Nvidia, Apple, ArcQ, PayPal, Zoom. It's a bit of a FANG, Alibaba, Arc, Google, Facebook. Okay, he's actually, maybe he's done well to diversify or get the portfolio allocation down for those, but still it's a bit of a FANG. ArcW, Twitter. It's a bit of a FANG portfolio for me, whereas So I think that will struggle over the coming year, and certainly in next year, I believe. But if we go back, but this guy, Rich Stroud, who's been on for quite a long time on the portfolio, on the platform, sorry, um, he's got what I would say is a better diversified portfolio for the longer term. And you see he's picked a lot of winners here. There's a lot of greens here. So, and he's diversified well. It's like, 5%, 4%, 3%. So there's a few more picks there, but if we just go through a few of these, so he's got financials which a lot of people have shunned, but actually they're doing quite well now, and probably will set to do fairly well. And so he's got Citigroup, he's got Legal & General, that's done well, 13%. And he's got things like, he's identified sectors that have done well, probably out of the the COVID the way things have changed with COVID. So about 20% on the pet sector, and he's identified that he's done well. What else is there? He's got gold. It's gold, isn't it? Yeah. So he's got that's pulled back, but uh, that's protection against runaway inflation, and that's due to do well over the coming years. So personally, I'd be happier to see more of gold in there. As it's come down, this is going to. I would hope that kind of position would be increased because it's starting to go up again now. Another plus financials there, 15%. So with the other guy who's got a load of red returns, this guy, when a lot of tech stocks, tech portfolios are being bashed, he's in the green here. Volkswagen, Rio, mining, that should do well over the longer term. It's got a bit of solar in there, for green investing has done well and it's due to do well. Big players, they're not going anywhere. Nike, Qualcomm's done well out of the sort of the whole move towards home working and telecoms and 5G. Nestle consumables, these are all stocks that I would say this guy knows what he's doing. He's picking winners left, right, and centre. Glaxo's done God knows what's happening with Glaxo. I've invested Glaxo on the platform and they just tanked. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing, but hopefully they'll come back. You'd think that the pharmaceuticals would be going up, but Glaxo, don't know what's going on there. But anyway, hopefully it'll come back. Yeah, so regardless, he had a bad month there, but if you look at his figures, 60% in 2020. Yeah, and so here's a warning sign. In 2018, down 15%. So it's these kind of caveats you've got to think about. 40% next year, 60%. So I would still, the thing about these past results is that you never know. You just never know how the investor has changed their strategy. So if they're doing well here, struggle a bit there, but he's pulling it back. If they're doing well, then and you like the portfolio, that for me is important, than just looking at, 2018 minus 15, no, not going to invest in him. Look at what they're doing now, what they did last year, 60%, no reds, all green. The portfolios are showing all green picks there. It's got 5 million plus assets under management, and he's maintaining his copier base there, which is a good sign. So you can see it's 75% stocks, and then the rest of those ETFs shown. The ETFs could also be stocks, so ETFs doesn't mean it's not stocks. These are just individual stocks, and these are ETF like fund stocks. So yeah, and he's two, three trades a week. It's long terms, like about 4 or 5 months. He's holding these positions before selling down or changing. So yeah, that's the kind of process really. Um, yeah, so just very briefly then, I'm just going to go over the filter then. So what you're going to want to do, as well as looking at those, do view all there and take a few, get a few people in watch lists. You can fine tune using the filter. So it sets some default levels. So let's just go through. Time period of 12 months. It's fine. You can select 2 years, but as you saw, you can see all of their data anyway from past years. So just get a performance over 12 months. It's fine. The trader status is whether they're popular investors or not. That's fine. You can leave it verified. Just because someone has become a popular investor doesn't necessarily, mean you should shut out all of the other verified investors or investors that are doing well. You're interested in performance, not if someone's just become a popular investor. Return greater than 10%. You might want to experiment with this. Do different searches, like go over 50%. But I tend to just leave that. Just see, just see what comes up. The risk score. So if you hover over the information bit there and then just right click, and then you'll see if you scroll down, I mean you can sort of read through this if you want, but essentially this table here is showing you these risk scores and these percentages here. There's volatility. So this is essentially sort of the maximum drawdown. If you remember what we were looking at the charts, the maximum drawdown of a particular day could be up to 4% if it's a risk score 5. A risk score 6 could be about 5.5%, 7.5%. So in a day, that's like pretty, it's quite a lot. 8, 9, and 10, you probably don't want to go anywhere near. I mean, there could be some FX traders possibly that have, still done well, but they've had some drawdowns. But in general, you want to see like when I showed you the chart, you want to see that chart going up without the big dips. And so, and if someone's a 2 or 3, it generally means you're going to see a straight line going up. If they're 5 or 6, you could see a bit more choppy. So yeah, you can take a look at that, but you get to that from there. Just right click there and learn more. Copy assets under management. Again, this is how much money that they've got allocated to them as investors who've invested with them, who are copying them. You might want to go, do some experimental searches to see what comes back for the bigger investors as opposed to the smaller investors. But these investors might be newer, simple as that. So I won't attach too much importance to that. Same with number of copiers. The allocation. So this is where, for example, I might look for currency traders that have a minimum of, I don't know, 60% currencies. Let's go for like 70% in currencies. If you are looking for maybe someone who's just picking stocks, you might want to say, right, I want a stock portfolio of at least 70%. I'm actually not worried about that because I'm looking at currency traders, so I'm just going to delete that. Same with like ETFs and indexes. You might be looking for someone who's got, you might like the commodity story, and that's a good thing to be invested in, I think, over the longer term. So yeah, and get crypto and ETF, so you can just sort of have the minimum and maximum of each particular asset class, and then people here is like how many people are, how much they've got invested in other copiers. So I'm not really worried about that. So personally, I'm just looking at currencies, and you can only actually do one of these as a a criteria, selection criteria. You can't combine them, which is fine. You don't really want to. You know, I want to look at forex traders, so I'm going to look at minimum of 70, and then you see it there. These ones you can pretty much ignore. Active weeks is the number. Active users have had at least one position open. How many weeks they've had that? So you can experiment maybe with this, but I don't think it's really worth it. And then what else have we got? We've got profitable. Again, the advanced stuff, just leave these as they are. Again, you can experiment with these. Number of profitable trades. If you were sort of again looking for just normal stock index investment, you might want to go with, I don't know, you'd want those to be higher than maybe a currency trader. So you would want, I don't know, maybe 60 to 70%, you know, 65% minimum as profitable trades, because if you're trading stocks and you want those to be generally profitable over the longer term. But again, you could just as well easily leave that blank and just see what comes back. What else we got? We've got number of trades. Again, don't just leave that as default. People based on their trading activities and volume levels. Well, that's kind of, you've already sort of got that there. Sorry, where are we? Active weeks. So I'll just leave that as default. It's fine. Average position size. Again, you might want to put this in. So this is how much of a percentage any one position, the average position size is. It's difficult with this one actually. If you're looking for a well diversified portfolio, you might want to have like, well, a maximum of like 10% in any one particular position, for example. And then, you know, in theory, you could say, well, okay, this investor is sort of well diversified, but nah, I don't think so. I think you could just start limiting yourself. I mean, you know, Warren Buffett has got what, 30% in Apple, you know, so I wouldn't worry too much about this. Some people do like to put these in, but I think you're just limiting the results that come back. And then daily drawdown and weekly drawdown. So the amount, the decline from an asset user's highest point to the lowest point. Again, just leave those defaults there. Again, you can experiment with those if you want, but you know, you're kind of getting this in the risk, you know, almost redundant there for these, but I'll just leave those as default. And then finally, countries, like, you know, you might want to restrict yourself to investors in a particular country, but I don't see why. It's all about what return you're getting. So I'll just leave that as everywhere. And then you apply that. So again, you can sort of sort these on the top here. So by risk, by copiers. So yeah, 88%, 85%. So these should be, if we just click in here and go to portfolio. So, you know, you're seeing like a bit of crypto, you're seeing currencies here. So 22%. And you'll see also that this is another thing to watch out for. This is another thing that I don't particularly like. So this investor is copying a very well-known investor on the platform, and I'll probably cover him in the next video, called Jay Nemesis. He's been on the platform quite a while, and she's got a third of her portfolio invested with him. So yeah, if you're a strong conviction investor, I don't particularly think you should be investing in other investors on the platform. However, you know, this investor is also looking to make a return. This is her money that she's investing. So yeah, not sure. Not sure. Um, as long as the stats stack up, then fine. But yeah, so then you got 8% now. So that she's picked well there, 8% in Ethereum. But again, that for me is like pretty high risk. That's going to be subject to a lot of volatility, I believe. And then so Walt Disney again, 3% in crypto. Got smaller positions there. So yeah, there's not a lot of diversification there for me. And this is a big drawdown on this particular position, so like almost a fifth of the portfolio. So, so yeah, it's just a case of like doing those searches, see what comes back. I know there's other ones that I could show you that are just more just currency traders, are not copying anyone else. They're the ones I'm probably going to copy, but I'll do that in the next video. So yeah, I hope that gave you some a good idea on the sort of thought processes that and the filtering and selection and searching that you can do and things to think about when you're copying people on eToro. And so yeah, in the next video I'm going to invest £2,000 in my real account. I'm going to finish off this analysis, pick probably 3 or 4 investors, and then show you the actual process of like how you copy them, which is actually really simple. So we'll do that in the next video.